I've done this so many times, but we've done this shot, but we'll do it one more time, right?
Do it.
So during the summer in Berlin, cafes like this become my office, and I have to travel light. So I have my laptop and I have earphones with me. And then in between, I don't use the 3.5mm output of my MacBook because frankly, it doesn't sound very good. For the last couple of years, I've been using AudioQuest's DragonFly Black. A little bit better is the AudioQuest DragonFly Red. However, this week, I have been using their new model, the DragonFly Cobalt, and it's blue. So I use a product like this, like the DragonFly Cobalt, because the DAC inside my laptop doesn't sound very good. This sounds much better. So we've got a 3.5mm output on this end, that's for connecting headphones, and then we pull the lid off, and there's a USB connector here for connecting to our laptop. I know some of you only have USB-C on your laptop. So the Cobalt ships with a Dragon tail. It's called a Dragon tail. It's basically an adapter cable. So you put these two together and then USB-C into the side of the laptop here. So I'm using Audiovana as my playback software, and you can see the AudioQuest DragonFly Cobalt here as the nominated output device. And then the volume control is in the software here. And I've got it set pretty low because I'm using some very sensitive IEMs from Campfire Audio. So beginners should note that you can use any playback software. You can use this thing with YouTube, you can use it with iTunes, you can use it with any Windows PC as well, so you could use Foobar, you could use VLC. It works with any PC or Mac. So advanced users will need to know that this does do high res, but only up to 2496. Those of you who are obsessed with high res and are about to grumble that it doesn't do 24/192 should ask yourself how much 24/192 content you have in your library. Does the Cobalt do MQA? Yes, it does. But it's a renderer, so you have to do the first unfold in software, and then this will take care of the rest, subsequent unfolds and rendering. So when I'm working remotely like this, I'm not really worried about high-res streaming, and in fact I'm not even streaming lossless from Tidal because I don't want to eat my mobile data bandwidth and the data allowance. So I mainly listen to Spotify and SoundCloud, and that's my message here, is that the Cobalt can improve all music. Any music you play on your Mac or Windows laptop or desktop, the sound quality will be improved by this little AudioQuest dongle. So we need to talk about why this DAC, this USB DAC, sounds better than the DAC inside our MacBook or Windows laptop. And there are two reasons. Now usually when people talk about DACs, they usually leap to the DAC chip. Inside here is an ESS Sabre chip. And they usually say, well, that's why. I mean, it's the chip that makes the DAC what it is. Well, that's only part of the story, especially with this product, because this has a microcontroller from a company called Microchip inside. And this is a low noise microcontroller, so that allows the DAC chip to perform at its best. It means the noise from the power supplies that feed that microcontroller don't mess with the analog output stage of the DAC. And on top of that, inside the Cobalt, AudioQuest have also put extra power supply filtering to shield the DAC chip from the electrical noise that comes from the host device, the laptop in this case. And that means like Bluetooth noise, cellular noise, Wi-Fi noise. I mean, basically, as Enno Vandermeer from Roon once said to me, a laptop is an electrical firestorm. We're talking about electrical noise here. It's pretty nerdy. But anyway, basically what this does, it stops all the electrical noise from the laptop getting into the DAC chip because it's filtered out, or some of it is. I believe it's the same sort of filtering that AudioQuest use in their Jitterbug product. So that's inside here. to maximize the performance of the Sabre DAC chip. The Cobalt sounds as good as it does, not just because of its DAC chip, but because of the power supplies and the receiver chip that feed that DAC chip. So my overriding message here is that the sound of the Cobalt is way better than the sound of the analog output of my MacBook Pro. Way better. Like, not even close. Do you like my t-shirt? Funny, huh? Anyway, so the other very important part of the AudioQuest DragonFly story is a man called Gordon Rankin, who I interviewed last year at Rocky Mountain Audio Fest. And Gordon is the guy who's behind the stream length code, that's what he calls it, that handles the transfer of data from the laptop to the DragonFly. In the Cobalt, he's also put something called monoclock code that generates a single clock from which the DAC can then deal with the data. People get funny when I say data, right? I lived in Australia. In Australia, people say data. And also people say router, because a router, and I invite you to Google this, Google router Australia. You might be in for a bit of a shock. That's why I don't say router. And that's also why I say data. But the real killer feature of the DragonFly Cobalt, like the other DragonFlies before it, is that you can use it with pretty much any smartphone. Here I've got it running on an iPhone using their Lightning to USB adapter. And because of the low power draw of the microprocessor here, it means it doesn't affect iOS. iOS doesn't have a fit that it's trying to pull too much power. I can't stress this enough, actually, is that the DragonFly does not hammer the battery of the host phone. Not at all. I mean, maybe an extra 3 or 4, maybe 5%, tops 10% during a day's worth of listening. So if you think this is going to kill your battery, you're wrong. So this is the iPhone 6s Plus. This was one of the last iPhones to have a headphone output. If I attach the DragonFly using the Lightning to USB adapter, like this, and then connect my headphones here instead of into the phone, we get a much better result. It's fuller, it's richer, it's more extended, we get more textual information. I mean, the difference is quite rare in the audio world. It actually genuinely is night and day. So if you want to use the DragonFly with an iPhone, you have to buy this adapter from Apple. Now, Android users, this is a Xiaomi phone, Android users have it a little bit better because we can use the DragonTail connector that we used with our MacBook Pro earlier on, and that goes straight into the bottom of the USB socket here and pulls USB audio out of the phone and pumps it in to the DragonFly for it to convert. And once again, the Cobalt sounds much better than the phone's own headphone output. It sounds bigger, it sounds more organic, and offers a greater sense of ease to music. I mean, especially compared to this, where it can sound very tense and edgy. This is the opposite of tense and edgy. In their V series of phones, LG make some of the best sounding smartphones available. I use this V40 and previously the V30 constantly. It's 3.5mm output from a ESS Sabre DAC. Sounds fantastic. However, it was always a close run thing between the DragonFly Red and the V series, but the Cobalt really opens up that difference. And the most prominent difference is in the top end. There's more space between the instruments, and you can hear all these kind of like tiny little soft, delicate details off to the side, and that's because the soundstage is much wider. What do we say, head stage? Head stage, soundstage, same thing with headphones. So one minor criticism is the dongle itself, which is unavoidable, but it can be a little bit awkward. Like when you're trying to put it in your pocket, it's hard to know how to bend it and fold it. But basically, if Apple, Samsung, Dell, HP, so phone manufacturers, laptop manufacturers, if they're not going to pay any attention to the sound quality of their devices, we have to help ourselves. Is it the only way you can do this? This is one of the very few solutions out there, and I would say that this is probably one of the best solutions out there at the moment for portable audio, getting the best from your phone or the best from your laptop whilst out on the go. So how does Cobalt compare to Red? Well, physically you can see Cobalt is a little bit smaller than Red, and sonically the differences are reasonably substantial. I can definitely see how many Red owners will want to step up to the Cobalt. Really what you need to know is the Cobalt compared to the Red gives us a larger, fuller sound, and most of all it's more effortless with dynamics. Now I've only had the Cobalt for a few days, and you can see that I'm mainly using it in a out of the house context because that's where I think most of its value lies. However, the 3.5mm output is 2.1 volts, I think. So you can use it at home. It's a very, very good sounding DAC. This will run up against similar priced DACs. No problem. Don't be fooled by its size. This is a tremendously good sounding DAC. Obviously I can't answer questions about things I haven't done. So what you see in this video is everything that I have done with this little USB DAC from AudioQuest. I can't think of another DAC that let alone sounds as good for its price point, but also can be used with computers and with smartphones. That's really the edge for me here, is the smartphone connectivity. I think that is absolutely bloody fantastic. I think this is a bloody fantastic product. Excuse my half expletive, but I cannot enthuse about this device enough. It's bloody amazing. If you like this video, if you appreciate the fact that Olaf and I finally got out of the house and shot a video around the city of Berlin, then please give it a thumbs up below. If you don't like it, click the dislike button twice, otherwise it won't work. If you really appreciate my attitude towards high-end audio and also portable audio like this, then please subscribe to this channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching.